Is it by design that essentially the same amount of time has gone by between the first and second and the second and third 9 years? Or is that just a coincidence?
A couple years ago, we thought we'd be shooting this summer, and then some schedules moved around, and we said, okay, we can do it.
And it happened to be 9 years.
Yeah, and
but
then
really,
that was a little extra bonus.
Because
Was,
the first
it would be the exact same amount of time, so it kind of incentivized us to jump into production a little sooner.
There was absolutely no rhyme or reason to the first
yeah,
time. It was 9 years. It
feels
just
really
kinda
random
happened that way. As the anniversary approached, we used it as
If we
momentum.
didn't do it,
If we didn't
we
do
felt
it now,
maybe
I was
it's not
worried we
gonna
would
happen.
never do it.
we're a bit superstitious
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
I read the Entertainment Weekly interview where you said that you want to keep doing them until you guys are like basically the couple from Amour.
Amour. But we'll do it as a big comedy.
That's our ongoing. We're
Yeah.
going to do a comedic
It's
remake
Amour.
of Amour.
Yeah.
Comedic, though.
Yeah. All they do is like sit around and watch movies of older people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they'll watch George Burns films or something.
It was important to see him with others, I think. You say a lot about yourself and how you feel about others, your relationship kind of around others. It's a
Yeah, and you're different
code,
around
you know.
others.
Yeah.
Like you can actually kind of like have a little passive aggressive comment that no one else.
You think you're insulated, you can get away with these. Yeah.
you can like do all sorts of like
Really?
passive aggressive stuff.
I don't know what you mean.
I think the biggest part was probably the older writer who was hosting you guys. We thought, well, do we get we thought it would kind of puncture the bubble a little bit if we got someone famous, like if you knew them. We talked about a lot of older actors, people in their 80s who were still bringing it,
British.
Yeah, so it was a little narrow, but we ended up going with a guy, an 85-year-old, the older man there has never acted.
Really?
He's a director of photography who won the Oscar in 1963 for Zorba the Greek.
Cool.
He's this British guy who kind of went to Crete and sort of never left, he fell in love with
It
Greece.
happens
and
to a lot of people.
He had a
They go to
long
Greece, they
career,
never
but
leave.
so he had this Greek-British thing, which was perfect for what we were looking for. And he kind of, the way he, Walter, the way he kind of held himself, carried himself like, I'm an Oscar winner, The way he kind of thought he really should be the director of photography on
On the movie,
yeah, for sure,
And the older
Like
woman
6 of them.
is kind of this magnificent Greek actress who's one of the biggest stars in Greece. She runs her own theater for children,
In
and
Athens,
she's
yeah.
highly revered.
She's an icon.
Nobody could believe we got her to do it, but she loved that speech so much. And
She came out of retirement. Yeah, she's kind of like the Audrey Hepburn or something of Greece. She's beloved and so well known, but hasn't acted in over 30 years.
They all thought they were going to have this great time improvising with Richard Linklater. They had seen him, and they thought, oh, this is going to be so fun. We're going to hang out. And then the truth is, Rick is merciless about rehearsal and about...
And there's not a word improvised, and they were very,
and
very...
they found themselves
Couple weeks
sitting
into
at that
rehearsals.
table for weeks,
They were in
dripping
pain.
with
Yeah,
sweat.
I know.
Like, we're doing it again? Why? Particularly Walter, I would have had this wrapped 2 weeks ago, 2 days or whatever. I mean,
On Zorba.
on Zorba, we would have shot this in a master and moved on.
Yeah.
They were all...
No, it's like 3 weeks of rehearsal. I mean, everything is very scripted and very rehearsed and because Rick
try to-
always tries to get everything in, like he loves those long takes and stuff. And it's true from the outside, it seems so naturalistic. I mean, that's kind of the goal, and improvise and stuff. But those people, how little did they know when they got on set that it was going to be rehearsal and rehearsal and rehearsal until... I mean, I think it's always our goal is to make sure it's neither... just a man's point of view or just a woman's point of view, or, we're very careful, to the line, I would say. I think one line too many from me or him could throw things out of
very
balance.
fragile.
We really work on it like we would work on, sewing like very fine lace. It's like every word, every line is important, and even the other characters and stuff. What they say and stuff is important, that it doesn't become like some movie about, angry feminist, because that's not what Celine is, and neither the other way, machism or whatever,
Or
that
even
wouldn't
the
work
point
either.
of even the fact of making these movies were kind of initiating some idea of a soulmate, of some kind of soul connection, and it seemed even important inside the movie to try to debunk that. To debunk it, and then also create the fact that, well, maybe it is. I mean, just
Yeah.
it's just a constant point counterpoint.
I mean, that was the overarching subject this time, was romance at 41. What is it,
And especially
Is it-
after
what
9
shape
years of-
was that? Because we've been considered to make 2 romantic films, so, that was the question. What is romance? How does it change? So it's something we all put a lot of thought into over the years.